Okay. Now some key definitions. Person. So who is a person? Person includes an individual, an HUF, a company, firm, association of persons, and more importantly, even the state, which is government, and every artificial juristic person, that is, whoever doesn't fall under this, say, even for example, trust societies, even artificial, like companies straight away has been mentioned, but even other forms of body corporates, trust societies, and other associations, etc., will also fall because it's an artificial juristic person. So, it's a very, very wide definition of a person. Then data. Now, data is also very, very wide definition. If you see, data means a representation of information, facts, concepts, opinions, or instructions in a manner suitable for communication, interpretation, or processing by human beings or by automated means. Imagine even what ChatGPT today is processing or giving information, that is also data in such a way, in a way. So not just somebody who's processing it humanly, even automated way, AI data, everything which is capable of being represented in these things is a data. So practically we can't envisage anything which is not data. If you see, it's very broad definition. So your name, age, address is data. Your salary is data. A student's project summarizing a scientific theory is data. A doctor's opinion is data. Navigation instructions is data. Complinity team, can you again open the chat box? I would like to chat with, I'd like to ask a few questions here. So can you open the chat box again for everyone, please? And just put in the chat when it is ready. So even digital platform usage, when we see websites, there are cookies. Sort of, you would have seen accept all cookies. There's that not even understanding what those cookies are, etc. Location coordinate. We share our live location. We share our location coordinate with Ola, Uber, Rapido, etc. Our browsing history. Everything is data, right? And all this has been sort of this definition is wide enough to carry everything. Now tell me, any guesses why have I highlighted these 2 points, the third bullet and the fifth bullet? Any guesses here? Let me let me see if the audience is live. Why are the two data points highlighted? How are they different from the other ones? Security issues, non-personal data, IP. Okay, so yes, this data, the two highlighted, may not be personal data. So, data is different from personal data. Personal data could be different from sensitive personal data. So while everything is data, this is a definition of data only, right? However, going to the next one, personal data. Personal data. It says personal data means any data about an individual who is identifiable by or in relation to such data, that is personal data. So the DPDP Act, okay, again a question to the audience. The DPDP Act, does it protect all the data or only personal data? Give me quick answer. All the data, only personal data. Okay, somebody says all data, digital. Okay, so some are saying all data, some are saying personal data. Okay, let me ask another question in continuation. Is it physical data or digital data or both? Only digital or both? So if you give your Aadhaar card to a hotel and they take a photocopy, is that covered? Your Aadhaar card photocopy, is that covered? Yes. People are saying yes. No, if they just keep a photocopy of the Aadhaar card, I'm not saying digital right now. So if okay, so yes, no, mixed answers. Let me spill the beans. If you give an Aadhaar card, it's very counterintuitive, but that's how it is. If you give your Aadhaar card to a hotel and they take a photocopy, it is not covered because it's just a physical record. Physical records are outside the definition of or outside the ambit of DPDP. It says Digital Personal Data Protection Act. I think the name of the act itself is a thing. But yes, you rightly said, Mohammed rightly said, if subsequently digitized, then it will be covered. So if you take a photocopy, but then you scan it and put it on your servers, then it will become the under within the purview of DPDP. Now Ashish is asking why is it outside the purview. I don't know frankly, but maybe most of the things, 80-90% of the things are digital now. And digital is something that was maybe more susceptible to abuse, etc., and that's what is being sought to be protected. So therefore there would have been some, I'm sure, wisdom between the PDP of 2019 and the DPDP of 2023. And so we need to understand it's a digital personal data protection. So what we are saying is personal data. So now you come back here, please. Personal data. So a person's name, age, address, contact details, that is personal. Biometric information or our face IDs or iris scan, that is personal. Health and sensitive information, all that is personal. Educational information is also personal. Online identifiers like IP address, device ID, that is personal. Our bank account details, tax returns, financial information is personal. Now, again, a question to you. Is our mobile number personal? Will that be covered under DPDP? Give me an answer. Is the mobile number personal? Yes, so you're saying personal. So can you now imagine, what is the such a wide ramification of this act? Our bank account number, our mobile number, our age, everything has become personal. How will all this be protected? I mean, age, for example, in India and people who have experience abroad, experience means I'm sure you would have traveled abroad and or maybe have relatives abroad or talked abroad. So in India, we openly ask age in so many forms and questionnaires, right? What's your age? In US and Canada, I'm told it is age is not there anywhere, not even in medical. I mean, you go to a doctor, they are not supposed to ask your age also. Even age is so coveted over there, etc. So therefore, this is personal data, not digital personal data. Now, digital personal data is personal data in digital form. In other words, any personal data that is collected, stored, processed, or transmitted in digital form is digital personal data. Now, digital could be you scan it, it becomes digital, or it's part of the software databases, it's digital. So, digital means even in your mobile, it's digital. In your computer, if it is there, it's digital. Digital also very wide ramification. So your online account information, your digital contact card, contact information, digital financial data, digi lockers, digi cards, digi yatra, digital health records, everything is digital and all that is covered. Now, data principle, even things received on your email, that is digital, right? So very, very wide ramifications of digital. So we are talking about digital personal data, and that is the Act, Digital Personal Data Protection Act, DPDP Act. Now, data principle, as we had initially mentioned, it means the individual to whom the personal data relates, and where such individual is a child, it includes the parents or the lawful guardian, or where the person with disability again includes her lawful guardian. Now, incidentally, again on a lighter note, in this whole act, the word her is the pronoun her has been used, but there's another clause saying her includes his. So, it's a modern law where the entire law, is very female focused, I would say. But of course, it applies to both males and female. Okay. Otherwise, you'll think that this only applies to females and doesn't apply to males, more like a posh act. No, it applies to everyone. Okay, so customer shopping on Amazon, you put in your data, your addresses, and there's a shopping history, etc. Patient visiting hospital, using your mobile app, social media, income tax returns, hotel guest check-in, an employee submitting records to HR. Even HR departments, please note, employee submitting records to HR. Do we have any HR representatives here? In the forum, because it'll become a big HR is going to become a HR point also. Are there any HR in the audience? Can you give me a pink or no? We'll see. So an employee submitting records to HR, be it your 10th class, 12th class, your educational qualifications, this, that, whatever, all that is covered. Now, processing in relation to personal data means wholly or partly automated operation or set of operations performed on digital personal data, right? And includes collection, recording, organizing, structuring, storage, adaptation, retrieval, use, etc., etc., etc. So, again, on a lighter note, people who are legal practitioners or lawyers or company secretaries or CAs, if you would have seen the manufacturing definition in the Factories Act, it's pretty much like that. So you do anything with that data, it becomes the processing of data. Even a collection of that data is included in the processing. Even the storage of that data is included in the processing. So how long are you supposed to store a data? And in case that purpose is not there, unless, there's a legal purpose or some other purposes, if the purpose is lost, You need to even purge the data purging or delete the data. How you can retrieve the data, store the data, share the data, index the data, etc., or a combination of any of this. Now, these are some of the examples: filling online forms, hotel scanning your ID proofs, storing scanned Aadhaar copies, employee data. We've discussed all of that. That's processing. Now, data fiduciary. Who is a data fiduciary? We asked in the chat box initially. So, data fiduciary, see, very interesting definition, means any person who alone or in conjunction with other persons determines the purpose and means of processing of personal data. So the organization which collects the data, because it has some purpose to collect the data, either collect or process the data. So a hospital is a data fiduciary. All these examples, for example, e-commerce platforms, banks, telecom, edtech, passports, any company processing employee record for that matter. So therefore, pretty much all companies become fiduciary with respect to employees, payment apps. Every company, this is a generic sort of line. Every company collecting digital personal data of employees, customers, vendors, shareholders, or business associates in a way becomes data fiduciary with respect to the data that that company is collecting. So very, very wide definition. Now, these two words, purpose and means, they will differentiate between the data fiduciary and the data processor. Data processor, they do not decide the purpose or the means. So they are pretty much contracted people. If the data fiduciary, they are an organization who has the need or the purpose to collect that data, and then they give it to probably an agency or a company or an outsourced vendor or a provider, etc. So that becomes a data processor. Simply stating, for example, a third party vendor or a professional or a consulting firm that processes salary data of employees, like payroll services, for example, on behalf of the company. Company is a data fiduciary because you are collecting data of the employee and keeping it, storing it, etc. Then you are giving it to the consulting firm for payroll processing. So that payroll processing does not decide the purpose or means of processing. All that is client driven in a way. And but for the client, the data processor wouldn't have been in the picture. So data processor is a payroll agency who is processing the data on behalf of the data fiduciary, and that's a key difference. And significant data fiduciary is another definition introduced, where depending on the volume and risk associated with the information, the central government will define or notify who is a significant data fiduciary. So no notifications have come yet. It will come in times to come. But the anticipation is that large social media platforms like Facebook, Insta, LinkedIn, Twitter, etc., major e-commerce platforms like Amazon, Flipkart, etc., quick commerce, Zomato, Swiggy, large banks and financial institutions, telecom and internet service providers, large hospital or hospital networks, health tech companies, ed tech platforms. So, large companies, even Ola, Uber for that matter, large companies who are adding value to a large number of individuals in India and collecting data. Again, as I said, depending on the volume and risk associated, this significant data fiduciary will be notified. So little do we know that hundreds of companies are sort of notified, the telecom providers, the Airtel, Jio, Vodafones of the world, etc. All of these people get notified as significant data fiduciaries, and rightfully so, right? Data processor we have covered. Consent manager, as I said, these provisions are yet to come. The definitions have been notified, but consent manager will be another company who acts as a single point of contact to enable a data principal to give, manage, review, and withdraw his consent through an accessible, transparent, and interoperable platform. That is a consent manager. So another business model or a chain of intermediaries could come as consent manager people. Now, personal data breach. Now we understand data, we understand personal data, we understand digital personal data. Now, any breach of this data means any unauthorized processing of personal data or accidental disclosure or acquisition, sharing, use, etc., will be a personal data breach, right? So, a hacking, ransomwares, or an HR manager by mistake sends an employee salary slip to the wrong person, or a cloud storage link containing passport scans, etc. You see customer data, credit card data, bank account data, etc. It is stolen or shared or accidentally shared. All this is data breach.
Welcome to Complinity Technologies. Complinity is India's leading governance, risk and compliance software helping companies to manage their compliance, contracts, litigation, legal updates, inter-financial controls and more. Complinity is a one-stop shop for all GRC needs. With our proprietary 12 GRC modules and real-time legal updates on 2,000+ laws and 24,000+ compliances. All in an integrated platform that is easy to use with automated alerts and risk management capabilities. Is why compliance managers, general counsels and chief financial officers choose Complinity every time. Join the most innovative and prestigious brands that use Complinity. Automating your compliance management. Request a demo at complinity.com.